Well, Tide Talk with Webb is back. Man, I think I called it early in the week when I said it was a trap game. It was it was a lot to take in, a lot of mistakes, and mainly it was just offense. It was the fumbles. You knock that out, and you look at time of possession, you look at yards. Um, we beat them by 15 points. That's the thing. We beat them.
Yep. Um, I didn't feel good about this game all week. Uh, I knew Oklahoma would be fired up. Well, they had 2 weeks to get ready for us too now.
Mm-hmm.
So get them all fresh and work on their game, dissect what we were doing. That's why you saw a lot of funky plays from Alabama, trying to throw them off. Uh, but it didn't surprise me. And it's because of our offensive line. We can't control um, protection. That's why we didn't really have a long ball game. A second and a half is about all the time that Ty had. Now, there were some plays where he did have a couple extra seconds, to look down the field.
Mm-hmm.
But um, but there were so many times when they would blitz and they would just be coming right at his face, and he'd just have to get rid of the ball.
Yeah.
Um, our right tackle, right offensive tackle, that guy was just getting burned. And that's Ty's blind side because he's right-handed, so he's turned the other way. I was afraid he was going to get hurt.
Well, it was every
Um,
time it was either Formby or Carroll, one of the two. Now it was better, but it was always that daggone right side, always. And then not only that, early on, and I get it. I love Jamie Miller. We all do. He's a senior. We love the contributions he's given to the Tide. But it's like, how many blocks are you going? Like, how many blocks are you going to miss? And they're coming right at you. It's not like, oh, it's a guy he wrapped around the edge and it was a defensive end, or no. I mean, right in the A gap. Like it hits you. Like how many? Like, and it was so frustrating. And the players and the coaches saw it. They pulled him. They put Daniel Hill in the rest of the game pretty much because I love Miller, but he is not a good run blocker. I am sorry. Like when he's
uh,
blocking on a pass block, he's maybe 50-50, and certain things in the game were kind of perplexing. Like I said, Ty, he threw that one pass that was a pick six. He was being rushed. He threw it, usually something he doesn't do. Um, but that was right there was 6 points. Um, then the fumble by Williams, that's another 3 points. Then you look at that massive tackle at the 10-yard line that Brooks missed. One of the first, I think it was the second time Oklahoma got the ball, and they get down to the 30. It was just little things. And you look at our turnovers, we fumbled it twice, and both it was Simpson. This isn't Simpson's fault. If it's from his blind side, and you're supposed to have, like, and the ones that he got hit, I mean, it was like Carroll. It wasn't even. He barely even touched the guy, and that's the only guy
mhm.
he had. It's not like he got two guys coming in and having to block him. And like I said, it was rough, and then it was just. And I don't know. And there maybe would have been another INT, but it got bailed out by the penalty. Thank goodness. Early on in the first half or first quarter. And I will say this: our defense played great. Before we get into the rest, bad. They had two chances to pick balls off, and they were in
Mhm.
position. They had called it. They had gotten it. They were ready to go. Um, like I said, it just certain things like that. The Williams strip, and then and every time they got any points or anything happened good for them, they had no long sustained drives. They had, I mean, I don't think they made what three first downs all night. I'm about to pull the stats up. Uh, it was because we gave it to them. They weren't having drives like we were having. They weren't sustaining drives. It
Mhm.
was just, it was frustrating as all get out. And like I said again, we talked about it last week. The sustaining and locking down the blocking on the outside by the tight ends just wasn't there. Now we love Cuevas. I like what he can do. He'll probably play on Sundays, but it was just really frustrating. And we had, and we'll say this again. We've been saying it a lot. I don't have a problem with Connor Talty, our kicker. But damn, dude, they drove the ball before halftime. They drove it down there. No timeouts. Have 6 seconds left. Took another play to get you inside the 15. I think we're roughly the 12-yard line. That's an extra point, literally an extra point.
Mm-hmm.
And you flub it so bad. It was a knuckleball. It was massively wide left, I think it was. And you're blaming the snapper because it was just a skosh high, but it was down. It was cocked how you wanted it and laces out. I'm sorry, son. You have to make that play. We didn't ask you. We're not asking you to kick 48-yard bombs. We're not asking you to kick 54-yard field goals in the wind. We're asking you to hit pretty much an extra point, and that would have won the game. With all the bad stuff we did, that would have won the game. And you're hollering at the center like it's his fault. Dude, you have one job, bro. One job. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand it. Like I'm honestly I'm my confidence is so low in that guy. I'm at the point now, and I'm not trying to be mean because we saw this with Tiffin in '06. You know, against Arkansas that year, he missed 6 field goals in a row, and he comes back and was all-time points leader at Bama. But right now, dude, I don't even want you kicking an extra point. I'd rather just go for it. I'd rather go for two because I don't know if you can make it. I really don't. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I mean, yes, it was a little high on the snapper, but that's on you, bud. That is on you. That should you don't even have you pulled it, and that guy barely even got a finger on it. It wasn't enough to do it. It was knuckling when it went off the ground. It was just god awful bad. Like I said, it it was even as bad as things were. We had chances. We had chances to win. Like we really did. Um, there was a few passes, a few long balls and whatnot that Simpson did miss. Some of that is he didn't have the time, and some of it, some things he's just off. There was one, I think it was in the third quarter, he planted his foot and would have hit Jeremy Bernard for 15 yards. It would have been a first down. He was wide open again this week, and it sailed on him. You know,
Mm-hmm.
now those things happen, and I get that because and let's pull up the stats here. Hold up. Let's pull up these stats. Pulling up the box scores here. When you look at Mateer, right, he was 15 to 23, 138 yards, no touchdowns. You look at Simpson, he was 28 of 42, 326, averaged 7.8 yards a pass, and got one touchdown. He did have an INT. If you look at their top running back, he had 34 yards. 34 yards. Our top running back, and Daniel Hill had 60. Backup, Jan Miller had 27. Even if you look at, let's say, receiving leaders, their best receiving leader, Jermichael Carter, 36 yards. How much did Cuevas have, our leading receiver? 80 yards. Jeremy Bernard, 71 yards. Isaiah Horton, 56. Ryan Williams, 45. Daniel Hill, 37. Caleb Edwards, 25. And honestly, it came down to those dadgum turnovers. I mean, I don't care what anybody says. That's the only reason they hung in the game. They were god awful
Mm-hmm.
bad. Now let's pull up these other stats real quick, and then I'll let you get after it. Let's go team stats here. First downs, telling. Oklahoma had 12. We had 23. Third down efficiency was garbage for both. I'm not going to say we had it good because we didn't. They had 3 of 13. 3 of 13 on third downs because our defense was doing a good job. I'm going to give them kudos all day. This is not their fault. On third down efficiency for Bama, we were 5 of 13. So it wasn't good, but we were 5 of 13. Fourth down efficiency, we were 2 of 3. Total yards per team, Oklahoma barely scratched out 212 yards. We had 406. Passing yards, they had obviously 138. We had 326. Like, you look at this stuff and you tell yourself, even penalties, they had 37 yards worth of penalties. You look at time of possession, we beat them there, 34 to 27. They had 25. We had 34 minutes. They had 25. Don't get me wrong. Hats off to Oklahoma because you played like garbage and you beat us. So you did good. You did good. I'm not taking that away from you. You beat us fair and square. We lost it, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like, and half of me says if you had just two better linemen, we're not having this conversation. Just two better linemen. Maybe you could make the argument. Maybe our offensive line coach needs to I don't know. But maybe you have two better linemen and we're not having this conversation.
This shows you how important those turnovers were. We're going in there, get ready to score, and then they take it back the whole way and score. It's really a double whammy. It takes 7 away from us and gives them 7. And then, talked about the lack of return game, lack of punt return game. Of course, when that defender came up behind Williams, you saw him make a fist and then punch the ball. I mean, that's coaching. They teach that during practice, and kudos to them. And they gave them a very short field, and of course they took advantage of it. The points after turnover, that's why the stats seem a little askew, because you look at it and say, well, wait a minute, we won in this category and that category, but that didn't tell the tale. Simpson, he was a little off tonight, but he has to be a Heisman candidate every week. His play he looks like it has to have a all-pro. He needs to be Tom Brady every single week, because all of the pressure is on him to win because our lack of run game. And it really showed up in the first quarter when it was like 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1.
Again.
The plays that Grubb came up with, it looked like, he might have come up with that, sitting in the bar, in a cocktail lounge and drawing something up on the back of a napkin. It worked because we don't have that consistency where we can just hand the ball off to the back and him just control the line of scrimmage. We can't do that. And most of the time, Simpson was under heavy duress when he was trying to scan the field, maybe a second and a half, and he had to get rid of the ball because those guys were coming in his face. They got several sacks, but what don't show up is how many times he got hit right as he launched the ball, or why he had to throw early. That may account for some of those passes that were off. He wasn't ready yet. You had to let those guys get in the open so we could drill a strike. And then they had that one play where I guess we were down on about the 10-yard line, trying to score, and Simpson takes the ball and tucks it and goes back, acts like he's falling down and puts his hand on the ground. And then Jam Miller just, for no reason at all, just rolls on the ground. And then what that did was freeze those backers and those backs, because they're looking in the backfield, a quick touchdown. But that's the kind of plays that we have to come up with on 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1, because there's no guarantee that we're going to get that yard. Even when they put Proctor in, when it was, I don't know, 4th and 1 or whatever, they did a reverse jet sweep. It worked. I mean, we got 3 yards out of it, but we can't control the line of scrimmage. And I told guys this week, I said, look, you think Alabama's going to roll over, Oklahoma? I said, no, they're not. The offensive line woes that we've had, they're not getting any better. Nope. The only way that we're going to fix it is through the transfer portal. Because the top 2 guys on our team, they're gone. They don't have any eligibility left. So they're going to skedaddle. So the only way you're going to fix it is to bring in 5 new offensive linemen. Because the linemen that were playing tonight, we're playing because the guys that back them up are not as good as them. So, we're kind of screwed. We have got to back up the Brinks truck to these good offensive linemen and just start picking them off. How many head coaches have we got fired? 13 or 14. There'll probably be a few more at the end of the year. So that means there's, 14 or 15 offensive line coaches. That means there's going to be maybe 100 or better offensive linemen going to hit the portal. And we've got to just get out the blank checks and fix our problem. It's not going to be, more footwork and, more practice work. No, no.
Mm-mm.
We've got to get guys that are really talented and put them up front. And I don't think we're going to get any better than we are now. And it would surprise me one bit if we go down to Auburn and get beat.
Well,
I wouldn't bet a plug nickel on that game.
well, you never
That's a
can.
lack of confidence that I've got in our offensive line.
But you can never do that. You can't do that at Auburn because they make that stadium with pixie dust and rainbows. Let me pull up the stats. I pulled it up here earlier. Okay, the last four times we've gone into Auburn in 2017 loss, 2019 loss, 2021 overtime win, 2023 game-winning TD at the end. So I mean it. It's tough. Now the thing I think is going to help us is they don't have a great quarterback, and they don't have a great offense. Now they're going to give us everything we got. So that's that game, all the stops for that game. Because if we lose that game, we're out of the playoffs. It's done. It is
Yeah.
done.
Well,
We
what
have to
I'm
win that
afraid of
game.
is our offensive line. We're not going to have anything new to throw out there up front. And Auburn's defensive line, I'd like two or three of those guys right now.
Right now. Yeah.
And they're going to be ready because they've had a lousy season. The coach got fired. You've got a bunch of assistants. They're hunting jobs. There's going to be a tremendous number of Auburn players hit the transfer portal. They don't even know who their head coach is going to be, their
Hmm.
assistant coaches, their position coaches. They have no idea. So this game is kind of like making a resume for them when they get in the portal because that's where they're going to make money. These
Hmm.
players, it's going to hit it. So I expect Auburn to just play lights out. And some crazy stuff happens down there. Even when we went down there with great teams, and obviously we don't have a great team.
Hmm.
Yeah, we can mask it with freaky play calling and trick plays, and
And we do have a good quarterback.
there's certain things that we can do, but uh, no return game. I don't believe in our kicking game. I certainly don't believe in our offensive line game. Um, I don't like it. I think Auburn's going to win. I do. We got
I'm
Northeastern
50-50.
Illinois or somebody Saturday.
It's EIU, so it'll be a practice game.
Yeah, yeah, and they'll
The thing
try
is,
to
and
get
we'll
ready
win
for
that.
Auburn, but
But I don't think I think Auburn will give us fits, but I think we can win the game. I will say this: if we can keep that, this my strategy is keep the defensive line on the field as much as possible, first and second half. We know they can't outscore us. We do know that, right? So our defense will keep us in it. Hats off to our defense tonight, even though we lost. They did and fought. And they did everything they could, even with all the bad situations the turnovers put them in. They did everything they could do. And
mhm.
I'm sorry, like I said, it's on the turnovers. I'm sorry, the turnovers. I'm not really giving Simpson because yeah, he should have gotten rid of the ball a little bit sooner. But it's like, dude, you're right. Your blind side should have had you. I'm sorry, they whiffed so many daggone blocks. And then Williams, man, you got to keep the ball. You can't give him the ball inside the 20. I'm sorry, that's just
Mhm.
you know. And special teams kicking. I'm sorry, we literally with all the bad we did, you could have still won the game. You had one job to do, and you couldn't make a kick inside the 12.
Yeah,
What? Anyway,
yeah.
that's to be said. But like, I think as long as we go to Failburn, if we can keep the defensive line, even if it's close, as much as we can, first and second quarter, it will pay dividends third and fourth.
Hmm.
Because even the best of defensive lines wear down. And Georgia did it. Ole
Yeah.
Miss, all these teams did it against them. So that's what we have to do going forward on this. Um, and so I don't know. It was kind of stinky, but I will say this: I challenge another team. Do what we did in that 5 game stretch and play as many ranked teams as we did. We had the fourth hardest schedule in the country. Please So, do you think Ohio State? You think Indiana could do that? Do you think Miami
Mm-mm.
could do that? Maybe Georgia, yeah, maybe Georgia, but maybe Ole Miss. Do you think any of those other teams could do that? I don't. I don't know at all. I don't. I'm sorry, not buying it.
Mm-mm.
And we'll see what Ohio State's got, and we're going to see what Indiana's got when they actually play real teams. We'll see it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't think we're going to be knocked out of the top 12, but if we go down to Auburn and lay an egg, yeah, we're out of the top 12.
Yeah, and I agree. We
So
should go to playoffs.
yeah, yeah. So you lose 4 games, you don't deserve to be in the playoffs.
Well, it'll be three
So
games, but yeah, I don't. I agree. I think that if that happens, no. I mean, if we can go down there and just squeak out a win, just squeak out a win, I think we'll be fine. But yeah,
but
it's
even so, with our roster, with our lack of talent in the kicking game, kick return game, um, the offensive line, we're not going to make a deep run in the playoffs. We're basically one dimensional. Um, I think when we come across a great team, it's going to be a lot harder. It really
mhm.
is. Oklahoma, and I don't consider Oklahoma a great team. I
They're
really
really
don't.
not. I mean,
Yeah,
they're us minus a quarterback. I mean,
yeah.
really, and Ventura decent, but he's not a world beater. And they just literally they caused three plays to happen, which three turnovers that was the whole difference of the game. And
Mm-hmm.
we have that bad of a kicker, and that's what it literally was it boils down to.
Mm-hmm.
And but
We
hats
would have
off to
won by
them. I'm
one
not taking
point.
anything away from them. You got the W and we didn't. You played better and you
Mm-hmm.
came up and you found ways to win, and that's awesome. You beat us tonight. You were better than us. But there's a whole difference. And like they're not a great team. They're like Tennessee. They're not great. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but there's a lot of teams in the country right now. I don't know if they're great. Is Ohio State that good? Do we know? Have they played anybody? Is um, is Indiana that great? They played Oregon, but Oregon don't look unbeatable this year. They don't look that great. So it's like, you know, um, we did see some stuff today from A&M. We saw that. We saw them come back from a 27-point deficit.
Yeah.
They look
It's,
great. They look great to me.
yeah. Yeah. A couple of teams, you got really good teams, but when you go from like number one, uh, well, besides Texas A&M, those top 12 teams, there's not a whole lot of difference.
When you
So when
drop
you're
off to
playing,
Texas
twos
A&M,
playing 10 or threes playing 9, I think all of those games are going to be competitive. I don't think there's going to be any big blowouts because there's not one team that's really separating themselves from the pack. Maybe
mm-mm.
other than A&M, which I don't want to play A&M.
No, the thing is too, like, and this is my opinion today. I think we played ourselves out of the SEC championship, which with the new playoff stuff, the championships don't mean anything really, in my opinion. They just don't. But I will
Mm-mm.
say this: your after you get outside of A&M, they're pretty much 2 through 12 are interchangeable. Anybody can beat
Mm-hmm.
anybody because the days of stacking talent are done. Like nobody has the money to do it. I mean, yeah, you got rosters like Texas Tech who spent 30 million, but they don't look unbeatable. Even Ohio State. Do we know they're that good? Have you played anybody? I'm just not a believer. If I haven't seen you play people, am I a believer in Georgia? Yeah, I've seen Georgia play people. Am I a believer in Texas A&M? Yeah, I am because I've seen them play people. Am I a believer in Ole Miss? Yeah, because they play people. But outside of that, I'm just like, oh, great. I don't. I guess we'll see when we get the playoffs. I don't have an opinion about it because you get to play anybody that's impressed me. I mean, pretty much. You look at the Big 12, all they are is a bunch of cast-offs from the Big East and ACC nobody wanted, and then SEC took all their best teams. Their top four teams are made a super conference in the SEC. So, with that being said, yeah, it's going to be interesting. It was depressing today, but you know what? I'm happy with the season we had, regardless of how Auburn goes. Please, somebody else with a number four schedule in the country, please do what we've done. Show me the
Mm-hmm.
resume. Now, granted, it may not because of the strength of schedule. It may not be good enough to get us to the playoffs, which I think that sucks because strength of schedule has been brutal, you know.
Yeah, well,
But
that's why a lot of teams have dropped their contracts playing other top teams because there's no incentive. I really don't want to play in the SEC championship game because we're risking injury. You know, what if Ty Simpson played in the SEC championship game and got hurt?
Hmm.
We're done.
Well, look at Marcel Reed. Look at Marcel Reed at A&M. If he gets hurt at quarterback, look at
Yeah.
look
The only reason they're
not
going to
Carson
play
Beck.
those games is because of money. That's it.
Yeah, yeah,
There's
one hundred
no other
percent.
incentive
Mm-hmm.
than just to
And
make
that's it.
conference money. Make a lot of those guys rich. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it's a money thing, but yeah, I guess going forward, just let's get ready for Auburn. Let's get healed up. Let's try to, let's try to at least keep them honest, run the ball. Let's try to keep that defensive line of theirs on the field as long as we can, and just wear them out is what, is kind of what we did to Georgia. So that's kind of my plan going in there. And I'm 50-50 on it. We'll see. And it's a rivalry game. Anything can happen. So, but hey, I'm proud and happy with the season we got. And we just got to keep playing and keep going. They hadn't given up, so we can't give up. And it's all we can do, man.
Got to support them for
Yep.
sure.
Well, anyway, appreciate you coming on the show, and I'll talk to you later.